Imagine a place where the soil itself seems stained with blood, where for generations, power was maintained not through law but through terror, public spectacles of torture, hanging bodies left as warnings, entire communities wiped out in the name of racial order. Mississippi led the nation in lynchings. Over 650 documented racial terror killings between 1877 and 1950, the highest of any state, often with crowds cheering, no arrests, no justice. The 1955 murder of 14-year-old Emmett Till, beaten, shot, mutilated, his open-casket funeral exposing the horror, ignited a movement. Freedom Summer 1964 brought volunteers to register voters, only to face bombings, beatings, and the murders of 3 young men whose bodies were buried in an earthen dam. This wasn't random cruelty, it was a calculated system to crush equality. Mississippi's darkest chapters didn't just scar the state, they forced America to confront its original sin. How did a land of rivers and cotton fields become the epicenter of such unrelenting violence, and what shadows linger in its legacy today? Before state lines, before cotton kings, the Mississippi River Valley pulsed with life. Ancient mound-building cultures erected earthen pyramids for ceremonies and burials, their societies complex and thriving. By the time Europeans arrived, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Natchez, and other tribes dominated, farming corn, hunting, trading along waterways that carried goods and stories. French explorers claimed the territory in the late 1600s, founding settlements like Natchez in 1716. Spanish and British followed in turns. After the American Revolution, the region fell to the United States. In 1798, Congress created the Mississippi Territory. By 1817, it split, and Mississippi entered the Union as the 20th state on December 10, 1817. King Cotton arrived like a conqueror. Eli Whitney's gin made short-staple cotton profitable. Enslaved Africans cleared swamps, planted fields, built levees. The Black Belt's rich soil yielded fortunes for planters who lived in grand columned homes while human chattel toiled under whips. By 1860, enslaved people outnumbered free residents, over 436,000 in bondage. Natchez became one of America's richest cities per capita, its wealth built on suffering. The state constitution protected slavery fiercely. Dissent meant exile or worse. Secession came swiftly after Lincoln's election. Mississippi's convention voted to leave January 9, 1861, the second state out. Jefferson Davis, a Mississippi planter and senator, became Confederate president. The state supplied troops, food, munitions. Vicksburg's fall in 1863 split the Confederacy, Grant's siege starving the city into surrender. The Civil War left devastation. Battles at Corinth, Champion Hill, homes burned, economy shattered. Emancipation arrived with Union victory, but freedom proved fragile. Reconstruction brought black political participation, voters elected officials, schools opened. Yet white resistance mounted. The Ku Klux Klan and similar groups unleashed night raids, whippings, murders to suppress black votes and labor. The turning point came in the 1870s. White supremacist redeemers used fraud, intimidation, violence to regain control. The 1875 Mississippi Plan, armed mobs disrupting Republican meetings, assassinating leaders, overthrew biracial government. By 1876, federal troops withdrew, Reconstruction ended. Mississippi's 1890 Constitution sealed the deal. Poll taxes, literacy tests, grandfather clauses disenfranchised black citizens almost completely. Jim Crow laws codified segregation, turning equality's brief promise into dust. The nadir arrived in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Mississippi became the lynching capital, leading in total killings, multiple victims, female victims, lynchings without arrests, victims taken from custody. Mobs tortured victims with blowtorches, mutilation, burning alive, often before thousands. The hanging bridge in Shubuta claimed lives in 1918 and 1942. Duck Hill in 1937 saw blowtorches used on victims before shooting and burning. Parchman Farm, the state penitentiary, became a modern plantation. Convict leasing and chain gangs exploited black men arrested on trivial charges, recreating slavery under the 13th Amendment's loophole. Labor built roads, harvested crops, conditions brutal, escapes punished by dogs or death. World War II stirred change. Black soldiers returned demanding rights. NAACP chapters grew. Then came Emmett Till. In August 1955, the Chicago teenager visited relatives in Money. Accused of whistling at a white woman, he was abducted, tortured, shot, his body dumped in the Tallahatchie River. His mother insisted on an open casket, yet magazine photos shocked the world. The killers acquitted by an all-white jury, yet Till's murder galvanized activism, proving silence impossible. The 1960s turned Mississippi into the movement's battlefield. Freedom rides tested desegregation, violence met them in Jackson. In 1964, Freedom Summer brought hundreds of volunteers to register voters, teach in freedom schools. The state responded with terror, churches bombed, homes firebombed, arrests, beatings. The murders of James Chaney, Andrew Goodman, Michael Schwerner, civil rights workers abducted by Klansmen and sheriff's deputies near Philadelphia, shocked the nation. Bodies found in an earthen dam, the case became Mississippi burning. Federal pressure mounted. Nonviolent campaigns persisted. Medgar Evers, NAACP field secretary, organized boycotts, voter drives, assassinated in his driveway in 1963. His funeral drew national attention. Black power emerged in places like Lowndes County. The original Black Panther Party formed there. These acts of resistance forced change. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 and Voting Rights Act of 1965 dismantled legal barriers. Mississippi's violence provided the moral urgency. Today, Mississippi reckons with its past. The Mississippi Civil Rights Museum in Jackson confronts slavery, lynchings, Freedom Summer head-on, pillars listing victims' names, artifacts of pain and perseverance. The Emmett Till Interpretive Center preserves sites. Memorials mark massacres like Vicksburg 1874. Economically, the state diversified, agriculture still key, but manufacturing, aerospace, Stenny's Space Center, casinos along the Gulf. Poverty lingers, especially in the Delta. Racial disparities persist in education, health, wealth. Yet progress shows diverse leadership, tourism along civil rights trails drawing visitors to reflect. Communities preserve stories, oral histories, markers, ensuring the dark chapters aren't forgotten. Mississippi's darkest chapters weren't aberrations, they were the system's sharpest edge. A state that led in terror lynchings, that buried freedom workers in dams, that beat children marching for the vote, forced America to look in the mirror. The violence here didn't break the spirit of those who resisted. It forged laws, awakened consciences, proved nonviolence could defeat brutality. In modern Mississippi, museums stand where mobs once gathered. Bridges crossed in blood now symbolize crossing divides. The past isn't buried, it's confronted. As we walk these haunted grounds, the question burns, have we truly learned? Or do the shadows still whisper that power built on fear can rise again? Mississippi's story isn't just history, it's a warning, a wound, and perhaps a path toward healing. The river keeps flowing, carrying memories. We must decide what we carry forward.